everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is gonna be a bit more of a serious discussion. I feel really nervous talking about this because it's usually gets very political and gets very divisive, and people have very strong opinions about it. But after like everything that's been happening the past few weeks, I'm sad more than anything, but I just wanted to just talk about my experience being black, being an immigrant, being a woman in America. I just want to say off the bat, like, this is not gonna be like a bashful video. Like, I don't want it to be negative, pretty much. Like, I don't think there's enough negativity going around. I just wanna share what my experience was. I moved to America from Zimbabwe when I was a teenager, and I did my college there, and it was a really good experience. Like, I wouldn't be where I am without it, but these issues are real and these things do happen. Let me just start by giving you guys a bit of a background. I wrote notes so that this doesn't turn into like a rambling discussion. So yeah, I moved to the States primarily for college, and over there I studied finance. I was in the Northeast, and yeah, I really enjoyed my college experience, and I wouldn't do it any other way. So when I was in college, when I first moved, I really did not experience racism necessarily. Like, it wasn't any comment that I wasn't used to. Like, I think the worst that ever happened was someone said something like, "Oh, where you're from, it's just AIDS and hunger," and I'm just like I was an eye roll more than anything, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so over this narrative. But yeah, I found that like people would ask me a lot of like dumb stuff, like, "Oh, do you see lions like on your way to school? Like, are there like lions next door? Like, have you ever seen the tigers in the jungles? Do you ride an elephant to school?" Like, no. Like, no, like life is normal. Like the same way, like, oh, like it's just like, it just was the same for me, like growing up, as it was for you guys. Pretty much, we had MTV, we had Nickelodeon, we had everything you had, and it used to irk me. Oh my gosh, when I first got there, like, I used to just get like so irritated. And then I remember my roommate at the time was very wise, and I eventually caught up. She was like, "You know what, like, I know it sounds like so frustrating to you, these kind of questions, and you like don't want to deal with it, but I think like if you just like make it an effort to like, like, tell people your side of the story, like educate them and be like, no, it's not really like that. Like, we have cars, we have normal things that you have. Like, we also write the SATs, like we also write like Cambridge exams, which are really hard, and like it's pretty much like it's different systems, but like we go through the same things you guys go through." So she was just like telling me, like, just think of it like that way. And then I'm like, I was frustrated because I'm like, it's not my job to like educate people, and I didn't come here to educate people. I came here for an education. And yeah, but eventually I saw the light, and then I signed up for the ambassador program at my school. So that's pretty much like when you go around and like with the prospective students, you give them a tour, tell them about the school. And so by doing those tours, I found that like there were a lot of people who'd never met anyone from Zimbabwe, let alone Africa, and like they had a lot of questions, and it was just an opportunity for me to kind of answer those questions. So yeah, it was frustrating in the beginning, but it got better, and I just turned it into a positive, I guess. And then from then on, I got into this diversity program. I got an internship. So it seemed at that stage that like being black was actually like working out for me, because I'm like getting into diversity programs. I'm being considered for things that maybe I wouldn't have been like ordinarily like considered for. So it wasn't like hitting me like bam in the face. And at school, it was like pretty normal. Like, I had great white friends, I had great black friends, so it was a very sheltered environment, and I was just like very happy and like very optimistic. But I guess like after, well, towards the end, not necessarily at school, but like maybe just starting to like talk to people who are not from school, or like, you know, meeting people who've already graduated and they're working and they're like dealing with stuff. I was kind of like, okay, there might be a problem. Yeah. And I think it finally hit me when I don't remember which grade I was in school, but I was still in school, and there was a summer that Michael Brown got shot. And I remember watching on TV. My aunt from Zimbabwe was in town, so I was with her. And I remember watching on TV like his body on the road, and I'm just thinking like, first thing I thought, I'm like, his mom like is gonna see him, and it's summer. And I think that in the news report they were like, he was there for hours, and I'm like, it's hot, and his body is just like lying there, like, what the hell? So that was the first thing that got me, because before, like, people will talk about Trayvon and all that, but I feel like that was kind of before I'd really settled into America, so I didn't know the story. So then it was like, it angered me, but like, I also kind of felt like a visitor, like, I'm here for like school, like, let me not say too much. Like, it's kind of like when you're in someone's house and then trying to tell them how to do things. So it hurt me, but like, I was like, okay, like I'm an immigrant, like these are not my issues, nobody's asking for my opinion, so let me just, you know, which I'm learning now, like, isn't necessarily like the best approach. Like, I think it's good to like talk about it and like let it out, and talk about it with like different people too, like not just like your core, like maybe not just like your black friends, or not just like your white friends, but like talk about it with like people who, first of all, like are willing to listen, and just so that like you can see everyone's side, and just like to just let it out, like, because if you hold it in, like, guys, like, anger is a dangerous disease if you hold it in, like, so I think it's important to like just talk about it. But at that time I was like, oh well, you know, it's like I'm a visitor here, so let me just keep my 2 cents. And then with time, yeah, like things were just like weird things just kept on happening and stuff like that, like in the news. And it was like, oh, I just kind of, I didn't feel immune to it, but I had like an outsider syndrome, like, well, like, you know, I'm not really like from here, like I felt like awkward talking about it, because I'm like, is it my place, like, is it my struggle, can I join, am I allowed to join, kind of like thing. But then I found that like when I started working, like I had no choice, because like that's when it became real, like, because now you're an adult, and in the workforce you deal with, like, I wouldn't say it was like, I would, because I feel like I wouldn't be like, oh, people were racist or whatever, but like I felt like I dealt with a lot of assumptions, bias. I don't think people are flat out racist. I don't know, okay, I don't know what racism is officially, but I think I dealt like with a lot of like bias, where when you walk into the door and someone has already like made up their mind about you, even though I look like maybe I could have been like an African American, but it was already like people were thinking stuff like I'm from the ghetto, I've never like worked in an office, I'm like tardy, my work product might be questionable because of my background, what else, and these are like real things that people would assume. What else, like work ethic was another thing, like, oh, like, you know, lazy and all that. And it would kind of be like I would be struggling and be like, I really like didn't do anything because I really just wanted to do well. But, and it's not everyone, might I say, like, but there are like characters that you bump into that make assumptions and that just make it hard, because like maybe they just haven't been with around someone who's different, and I felt like I had a really like hard time sometimes like socializing because I was so different, almost like imposter syndrome, because like in corporate, like it's not a lot of like black people. It's they're there, but it's not the majority. So I also had that like self-consciousness and all that, and I wasn't like sure like why I felt so off and like so out of place sometimes, but it wasn't all bad. And then as time went on, like I became more and more open, like with talking to people, like we're talking to my friends, we're talking with people, like even like my white colleagues who were like who I felt comfortable with, and be like, oh, sometimes I really feel like awkward and stuff like that. And I thought it was like, I thought it was real, but like you doubt yourself and you're like, okay, it's just imaginary. And then something just crazy happened, because and this was just before I left to for Cayman. I remember it was the same day that Mac Miller died, so we all work like on the same floor, so like open space. So then everyone's noticed. It's kind of like, I don't know if you watch Black Mirror, but like that episode about how we've become so addicted to notifications, and we don't really think about things anymore, and we just like cast it aside. So it's kind of like we all got an email that one of our colleagues who's like black was shot in his house, and shot by a cop in a case of like mistaken identity. And then at the same time, like I think Mac Miller passed away on the same day. So everyone is kind of talking about it. Like everyone is talking about Mac Miller because we got the Mac Miller notification. It was like everybody's like, Mac Miller passed away. And then next thing, the email came in saying the guy from work got shot in his apartment. And everyone is like, oh my gosh, like he got shot in his apartment. Damn, that's crazy. And then everyone went back to work. And that was that. And I was just like, I don't know why that one got to me so much. It was just very, very hard for me. Because I feel after like talking to people, like it all turns out some of my friends actually worked with him. But it turns out like he was from like St. Lucia. He had come here to come to school, and like he'd gotten this job, and he was working like trying to do all for himself, and that he ended up in that situation. And that just made me feel I lost it. Not like in an angry way, but I think that's when I finally cracked, like, this is so unfair. Like, this guy is me. Pretty much, we both left our countries. We came here. We did our college thing. We got jobs. Like, we're trying to, like, climb up the ladder, and then you just get shot because you scared someone and you're dead. And I just imagine about how I left home, and there was so much hope for the future, and like so much faith in what I could accomplish, and then but I'm still here, and he went home in a box. And it just gets to me. It really does. And yeah, it just was like, it just made me really sad, and I'm still really sad about him. Like, I think we had a meeting at work where everybody just came together to remember him, and I was crying, everyone was crying, like, sad. But yeah, it was just like, that's when I was like, wow. And for me, it's kind of awkward because I don't know what role like I should like play in it, because I'm not like American, but I'm also black, and I'm like, I support the cause. But I found out that like my way of dealing with it now is like having like conversations at work where I can about, I'm not like, I hate the word educate, but like just hearing different opinions and like being vocal and be like, this really upsets me and this really hurts me. Like, how do you see it? because it just makes me better understand like when people are coming from different places, how they see things. Because sometimes it's not even like, because the silence is worse when people just get on like nothing happened. But if we actually like talk about it and be like, how do you feel about this? Or someone might be, they like say something like all lives matter, which is might just, that's high-key offensive, because, or like I don't see color, or like I've got black friends, like, you know, those things which might make you like take a breath. But like that's where they are now. And like if you're rude to them and if you like curse them out and you call them ignorant and you call them stupid and you drag them on Facebook and you drag them on social media, like it's not helping. Like, I know you never wanted to be a teacher. That's a lesson I learned. I never wanted to be a teacher. I wasn't born to teach. But like, I think that the solution for me that has worked is like having constructive conversations where I can, and like maybe when somebody sees something different and they're like, I really think that was a just case of a mistaken identity, like it was an accident, and just kind of make them understand that it was fear. Like, people are sometimes afraid of black people because of stereotypes of, or because of what they've heard, or because of how they've been conditioned, and trying to like make them like understand that, and meeting them where they are and you meeting them where, and like vice versa, like they meet you where you are, and like with a level head. Because I'm telling you, if we don't talk about it, it's just gonna be more anger. And I think the first step is just having conversations, and that's what's really helped me. And I still don't have the answers because it's still happening and I'm still sad, but like all I can do is just like pray for peace and pray that or at least for me, that I can continue having these conversations and just encourage everyone to be positive and stop it with dragging people on social media. I know we're all angry, but it's if you approach someone without the right, like if you approach someone and you're insulting them, they will never receive it well. The same way if someone is insulting you, you're never going to receive it well, and we make no progress. So yes, that would be my big thing. It's just, let's just try to, even though it's hard, even though you feel like it's not fair, which I feel, and I hate things when things are not fair, but it isn't fair, and this is where we are. And that's what I think. Let me know. I'm happy for our polite read. If you think I'm wrong, and if I feel like you need to educate me, I'm very open to learning and seeing different perspectives. But yeah, that's all I had to say from the perspective of a little Zimbabwean girl. Thank you. See you in my next video.